there were some favorites that came into the picture before after the end of the season that I had few favorites, like person like Rodri. Rodri has won the World Cup now, won the Golden Ball of the World Cup. So it gives him a very big chance.
Hmm. Okay.
I will eliminate Rodri, even though Rodri might actually win it because he won two trophies with Man City and he was key integral part until he came back. He was the reason why they stopped Arsenal. They removed them from that semi-final.
Integral part to what? See, I know that he went on later on to say that he's not counting him among the Ballon d'Or favorites, right? But he still stated that because of the the Golden Ball win that he got in the World Cup after winning the Player of the Tournament, that and he won the World Cup also, that there's still a possibility of him winning the Ballon d'Or. And this whole Rodri tax, it pisses me off because I agree he's a very great player, right? As a defensive midfielder, he's one of the best. But what is the need of all this gaslighting? The part where he said he was a very integral to what? Right now, for as the season that just ended, right, Man City's player of the season nominees, the person that was first or person that took first was Nico O'Reilly. Very, very crucial. And then the match he was talking about, which he made a mistake, it was not the semi-final, it was the final in the Carabao Cup final. The player that beat Arsenal that day was Nico O'Reilly. Their second player in the player of the season nominees, right, was Kushanov, a very crucial player for them this season. He tried. When other centre backs were going on injury consistently, he was available, doing his best whenever he was called upon. And then Jeremy Doku, the actual player that made that title run to continue until that last day, until the second to last day. It was Doku that kept Man City in that title run. Because so many at times when they faltered, especially that game against Everton, he rose to help them at least grab a point or get a win. Very influential player. These three players, very crucial. They helped Man City. But because of we saw him do very well. To me, as I said, he was the second best player or maybe the third best player in this World Cup. And then they gave him the Golden Ball. We are not talking about him in the Ballon d'Or talks. Is that really what we are doing here? And this was the exact same thing that happened the previous time when he beat Vinicius. That season, Man City player of the season was Phil Foden. Premier League player of the season was Phil Foden. The Premier League winner obviously was Man City, but the Champions League winners were Real Madrid. The La Liga winners were Real Madrid. The player of the season for Champions League was Vinicius Junior. He went on to go and win the UEFA Super Cup and then they won the Intercontinental World Cup. They won four trophies for Vinicius that season, right? And Vinicius was very instrumental to the Real Madrid team that dominated Europe. Then they went to the Euros, and we saw somehow Rodri came out with the player of the tournament, which to me he was not. He was not even Spain's best midfielder because to me, Dani Olmo did more for Spain off the bench than him. But somehow, I was surprised back then he won player of the tournament, and now we are in 2026, where out of the for the 9 months in the entire season, we did not call Rodri among the top 50 best players in the world. Or sorry, let me narrow it down. The top 50 best players in Europe, he was not mentioned amongst them. In Man City, he's not among the top 5 best players in the team. But because of a World Cup that Spain won and then they gave him the Golden Ball, we are talking about Rodri in the Ballon d'Or talks. Are we all right? Are we okay? Is anybody that is having that conversation okay? And right now, I am calling out every single person. Anybody that thinks, that believes that because of he won the Golden Ball in the World Cup, that he should be in the Ballon d'Or talks. We need to ask ourselves that question. Are we okay? When do we move from the point that Ballon d'Or is no longer about the best player for the entire year? It's now about maybe just have a good month in the World Cup, and then we start talking about him among the best players. When did that happen? Last year, we complained about Dembele in a way because half of the season he was non-existent. Then he came for the other half of the season and then he performed well and he won it. And to me, I'll keep on saying it. The winner should have been Rafinha. Sadly for him, he lost in the semi-final to Inter Milan and then Inter Milan went to go and lose woefully in the final to PSG. But we know that for the 9 months of football that we all watched, the best player was Rafinha. But we saw where he ended up. That's how it now is. And now we are not talking about Rodri being in Ballon d'Or talks for this year.